He's always been our leader on defense, but we know whenever our starting quarterback Mason's out, that he can come into offense and be a leader on offense too.
It's a little different, but I mean, I've had great help from my teammates there. You know, sometimes it can be a little tough, so they've been helping me throughout this whole process, and I have to thank all of them for helping me through this.
Since senior QB1 Mason Fuchs went down to the win over Eastland, the Wallhawks have had junior linebacker Drew Morrison leading the charge, and so far off to a great start. Now 3-0 under number 12. Well, hello and welcome to the Cover One Studios. I'm Manny Diaz alongside Josie Hyde. This is the Cover One Mix Preview featuring the Wallhawks, who are set to go toe-to-toe with the Shallow Water Mustangs in the area round in Snyder on Friday night. All right, well, you can say since that October night against the Eastland Mavericks, the struggle's been real for Hawks QB1 Mason Fuchs, who sustained just a pretty tough, a pretty bad concussion in that one. And now, finally, after 4 weeks, life is finally getting back to normal.
It hasn't been the easiest ever since that Eastland game, just trying to get back to the normal things of life and just trying to get back to myself. And it really hasn't been too easy to do that, but I've had great teammates and great community that supports me, and they've been nothing but supportive with me taking the time I need to recover. And my family, they've helped me so much through all of this, and they've made it a whole lot easier than what it feels like.
Joe, you and I had a chance to chat with him on Wednesday afternoon in practice there. Thoughts on kind of how you feel about, just his recovery process?
Well, we knew how big the hit was in the Eastland game, but we really didn't know the extent of the injuries. It had been a mystery when he would be back, if we would be back, but we found out this week that his season is likely over. He'd been through tests. He had baseline earlier in his high school career. He has been failing that baseline test. He only just now started getting back to schoolwork.
The Hawks also mentioned that, injuries have kind of just plagued them, all throughout the season, but it's also kind of like a next man up kind of thing.
Exactly. No one, the feeling in practice, no one felt bad for themselves or the situation that they're in. Obviously, Mason is a great player. Even Chase Rios has been out the past couple weeks. Big pieces to the puzzle, but no one's down on themselves. It's a next man up mentality. Everyone believes in the backups, and they really don't feel like it's a speed bump at all.
The Hawks still the #1 team ranked in Texas at this point. Drew Morrison still continuing to carry them. All right, speaking of Drew Morrison, well, with Mason Fuchs done for the season, the junior linebacker is now the guy under center for the Hawks, and obviously bringing something new to the table.
Drew's not as finesse as Mason. He's a lot more power. Drew's a 6'3", 195-pound quarterback that's going to be very difficult to tackle. And, the dynamics of our run game have really changed since Drew came in.
Well, Mason is obviously he has a really good arm, and he's kind of a dual threat quarterback. I am more of a just kind of run it up the middle kind of guy. I'm a little bit bigger than Mason is, so I can take a few more hits. So I think with our different play styles, it kind of shows a different offense than what teams have seen in the past few weeks. So.
All right, well, when it comes to the new QB1, Drew Morrison, there's not a whole lot of tape out there, video on him playing at the varsity level, which is a good thing for the Hawks. Not so good thing if you're getting ready to line up against them, just because trying to prepare for something you have no clue about. In this case, this seems to be benefiting Wall.
Oh, I definitely think so. Well, they haven't really needed to open up the playbook that much. Drew Morrison, really a downhill runner who really doesn't need to do a whole lot offensively. Hand it off to their stable of backs, run it up the middle, and just really hold on to their lead and let the defense do the work.
And one thing about him, he's a good-sized kid, over 6 foot, pushing almost 200 pounds. So imagine bringing down that guy. In fact, I wouldn't want to imagine bringing down that guy if I met him in the hole there. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break and pay some bills around here. But when we come back, we're talking the piece of the puzzle, well, that fits on both sides of the ball. Most importantly, that defensive side of the ball. Stick around. This is the Cover One Mix Preview featuring the Wallhawks. welcome back to the Cover One Studios for the Cover One Mix preview featuring the Wall Hawks. No doubt Mason Fuchs has played a huge part of this team, but I tell you what, defensively, this defense has played an even bigger role in this, which is pretty much, you can say, why this team is the #1 ranked team in Texas. Houston Guy talking about his defense.
Defensively, we've kind of hung our hat. They've kind of been our mainstay to keep those scores down so that our offense didn't have to put up a ton of points offensively. And so for us, we kind of rely on those defensive guys to get us turnovers, get us the ball with a short field, so we don't have to have those long drives. And Drew playing a Mike linebacker, you know, he's a pivotal part of that defensive side of the ball.
Well, Joe, this defense has been something to talk about. We were crunching the numbers, I believe, in 11 games this season. Teams are averaging a little less than 7 points a game, 6.82 if you really want to get, throwing the math in there, the numbers. You've seen this team a number of times this season, especially this defense. How good are these guys?
Oh, they are incredible. They had a loaded schedule. I mean, even off the bat, shutting Mason just completely down, only allowing 7 points in the season opener, and they have not let their foot off the gas. I've only allowed 14 points, I believe, twice this season. Right. No more than that. Seniors all over the place, speed all over the place. They are a unit to be feared in Texas.
Now, the one guy that we're talking about, that piece, Drew Morrison, this guy also brings something to the table, not only replacing Mason Fuchs, but also as a linebacker on this team.
I mean, you could argue that for the first 8 games of the season, he was one of the most important players, only playing middle linebacker. A big kid, 6'3", almost 200 pounds, a real leader on the defensive side of the ball, gets people in place. A very important key. It'll be interesting to see how he can handle playing both sides when the competition steps up a little bit.
No doubt Nate Fedor will certainly also look to have a big role moving forward, and another big piece to that defensive side of the ball. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's Cover One Mix preview featuring the Wall Hawks. Of course, the Cover One crew will be on scene for the Hawks area round showdown against the Shallow Water Mustangs on Friday night in Snyder. Shallow Water entering this one at 7-4 and running a pretty good spread offense, but nothing the Hawks haven't already seen this season. Well, for Joe Z. Hyde, I'm Manny Diaz. Good night. God bless. We'll see you in the area round.